Today I'm going to be reacting to this video. It's called 50 Things That Prove Canada is a Unique Country. And yeah, I've been really enjoying making reactions about Canada. I think I've already found out a lot of interesting facts and things that do make Canada unique. And I've also found out about a lot of absolutely beautiful, wonderful places around Canada. So really interested to see this video and find out more. As always, please leave me comments and tell me what you think things are that make Canada unique, and I love reading your comments. That's one of my favourite things to do, so please leave those comments, and yeah, let's watch this video, see how it goes.
What country holds annual bathtub races and has a prepared landing pod for UFOs?
Really?
Also, it has a place where there are so many snakes that they look like spaghetti on your plate. Still no idea, eh? Okay, I'll give you a huge hint. This country produces more than 70% of all maple syrup in the world. Yep, you nailed it. This awesome country is Canada, and here are 50 cool facts about this place. Canadians are famous for saying sorry all the time, even when the other person is clearly in the wrong. In fact, they apologize so much that an Apology Act was passed in 2009. It allows saying sorry in court without being afraid that it'll sound like admitting your guilt.
That's a very interesting one, but I don't know, I always thought that was a stereotype. Is that actually true that Canadians do say sorry a lot and are like, is it like, why would that be? Is it like an apologetic nature? I feel like I'm very similar to that. I feel like I apologise a lot of the time. Like, you know, when you're walking down the street and maybe like you bump into someone, even if it's them that bumps into you or bumps into me, I'll be the one that says sorry. I just always feel like I need to be polite and say sorry. I think it's maybe about politeness. Maybe that's why. Maybe Canadians are just very polite people, but I feel like that's similar to me too.
Approximately 90% of Canada's land area is uninhabited. Even though it's bigger than the US, it has only 11% of America's population.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've definitely seen that on one of the previous videos, and for me it's just so fascinating that when you actually see even just this image here, you see the makeup of it, all these little islands and how vast the landmass is of Canada. The fact that so much of that is uninhabited just blows my mind, especially when you see the US. You know that like there's vast parts of the US that are unpopulated as well, but it's usually like quite spread out, all these cities, and it's quite decentralized. Whereas Canada, a lot of the main big cities are here. This whole area, it just feels like a magical place almost. Tell me what you think. Is there people that like make treks out here and have explored all of this? Is there still a lot of Canada that's unexplored?
At 4,860 miles, the Trans-Canada Highway is almost the longest national highway in the world, beat only by Australia's Highway 1.
Oh. Tell me if that's a...
Also, when you travel along the Trans-Canada Highway and reach Quebec province, pay attention, and you may see the most cheerful town in the world, St. Louis du Ha-Ha. Yep, just like that, with 2 ha's and 2 exclamation marks. The town even has a Guinness World Record for most exclamation marks in a town name.
I've never heard of that place, St. Louis du Ha-Ha. Tell me why, where does that originate from? Why is that? Is it genuinely a funny place? Are people very happy there? And on that highway, has anybody like that watches this, I know people would have done it, but is anybody that watching this video actually made that journey right across that highway? Is it very beautiful? I can imagine after seeing the rest of Canada that it must be such a beautiful drive and there must be so many great landscapes and sights to see. Tell me what it's like to actually do that. I know in Scotland we have one. I can't remember the name of it, but you can drive around like the edge of Scotland. And it's very beautiful, a lot of nice things to see. I've never done it myself, but would love to.
It's illegal for polar bears in Canada to break into houses and steal food. So, if you see one rummaging around in your fridge, call the cops.
Call the police, yeah.
You can laugh all you want, but there's even a polar bear jail in Churchill, Manitoba.
polar bear jail. How would you even get the polar bear in the jail, man? Like, how would you, like, I mean, you probably need a crane or something, but why is there a polar bear jail? Why is that needed?
Bear troublemakers stay there until they get relocated.
Oh. Okay,
Canada received its own flag in 1965, almost 100 years after it became a separate country in 1867.
So what was the flag before? Did it have, maybe it had the Union Jack on it or something like that? But to me, and I'm not just saying this because it's like I'm doing a Canadian reaction type thing, but the Canada flag is one of the most unique, and one of the, like, it really represents Canada. When I find out more about it, how the red is about the blood of fallen soldiers, the white's for peace, the maple leaf obviously really represents Canada very well. It's just almost perfection. Like, it's really meaningful, it's really striking, and it just represents Canada very nicely, I think, anyway.
People in Nanaimo, British Columbia, are fans of a very exciting kind of sport. Since 1967, they've been organizing and participating in bathtub racing. These unusual competitions take place every year and involve bathtub boats and a lot of fun.
I mean, that just looks fun. Tell me if
Several
you've
of
seen
the
that.
most popular superheroes, such as Wolverine and Superman, were created by Canadians. Thank you so much,
I
guys.
did not know that.
The
That is quite cool. Yeah, I never knew that was the work of Canadians. So, like, they've really created, like, some then iconic characters. What other characters and what other things have Canadians created in that art space like that, in TV, movies, things like that? I'd be very interested to know.
most dramatic weather change happened in Canada on January 10, 1962. The temperature in Pincher Creek, one of the windiest places in the country, jumped from -2.2 degrees to 71.6 degrees Fahrenheit within a couple of hours.
I mean, that one definitely needs more explanation. How is that even possible? What happened? That's the sort of thing, if you hear that now, people will be thinking, like, definitely to do with climate change or some other thing like that. But that seems absolutely mental, such a huge increase. And can you imagine actually being there at that time and that actually happens? I probably wouldn't even know what was going on. I would be thinking, like, this is some sort of apocalyptic situation or something.
Canadians love hockey. As they say, these people breathe, eat, and live hockey. But despite their passion for the game, Canada's national sport is lacrosse.
But yeah, if you watching this channel, you know about my other channel. I have a channel where I make, like, American reactions, and that's one reason why I started this channel, because I was doing reactions to ice hockey, and a lot of people were recommending different Canadian videos to react to, so I thought I'd create this video to focus on Canada purely. And I love ice hockey. I love hockey, as with everything I've seen so far. It's such an exciting sport. But I did not know until I started this channel how popular, or that lacrosse was the national sport. How is that? How does that actually show itself? Is there, like, huge matches, like stadiums, things like that? Why is lacrosse the main sport, not even like soccer or basketball, anything like that? And how popular is it really? Is it, like, common in schools? Have you played it before? It looks like another exciting sport. Maybe I'll do some sort of reaction to that.
The area in the Hudson Bay region has less gravity than any other region on the planet.
Another video, right?
So if you want to jump higher and weigh less, that's the place to be.
Play basketball there.
One crater on Mars was named Gander, after a town in the Newfoundland and Labrador province of Canada, to honor its space research efforts.
No,
How
that's
about
pretty
this
cool.
one? Santa Claus is Canadian. That's what Canada's immigration minister announced in 2012. So maybe that's why his famous outfit is made up of mostly two colors, red and white, which are the national colors of Canada. Now, even though the Stanley Cup, which is the National Hockey League trophy, has its own bodyguard, hockey champions still manage to put all kinds of things in it. I mean, they drink chocolate milk from the poor thing.
I mean,
In 1930,
is interesting.
Canada's hockey team did so well that they were put straight through to the final game. They didn't even have to take part in knockout rounds, and in the end, they won the gold.
And how is like Canada on an international sense? I watched like quite a few ice hockey videos, and it's been more on the action and that type of thing. But how is Canada like the national team? Are they one of the best at ice hockey? I guess where do they compete? Is it Winter Olympics? Is there like a ice hockey World Cup type thing as well? How do they compare to like the USA, Russia, the Scandinavian countries? Are Canada right up there? One of the best? Let me know in the comments.
Canada's territory occupies a whopping 3,855 million square miles, which makes it the second largest country in the world after Russia. For comparison, Canada is bigger than the whole European Union and 15 times larger than France, the biggest European country.
Really huge country.
Ottawa, the capital of Canada, isn't the largest city in the country. With a population of about 1 million people, it comes second to Toronto, the capital of the Ontario province. Almost 3 million people live in that city.
The thing is, I'm learning more and more about the cities of Canada and seeing the sights of the countries and things like that, really enjoying that. And Ottawa seems like such a quaint place, such an interesting place with great architecture, very unique architecture. I was confused at points when I seen photographs of it, whether it had that more British influence or French influence, because obviously those are so common in Canada, but people told me it's kind of like a mixture of both. That for me is so interesting, and it really looks like such a cool place to live. Maybe it's like quieter and like more easygoing than the bigger cities like Toronto. Tell me if you live in Ottawa or what you think about it, or if you're from outside Ottawa, what do you think about it as
Canada is officially the most educated country in the world, with 56% of its population having some kind of post-high school education degree.
That makes sense. Like any Canadian people I've had any interaction with, they do seem very intelligent. Like even compared to me, like British people, for me, obviously I'm from the UK, and I feel like sometimes like the people I know and things maybe not the brightest, but any Canadians I've actually had interaction with, yeah, very intelligent people and very interesting people. Tell me if you feel that if you're from Canada. Do you feel people are more educated, and does that make a difference to like overall life in Canada?
In St. Paul, Alberta, they built the first landing pad for UFOs. Well, I guess you can never be too prepared.
Canada's so welcoming.
The platform weighs more than 130 tons and contains a time capsule which has to be opened in 2067.
Interesting.
In a 2018 happiness report, Canada was ranked number 7. I mean, even despite all that cold?
And why is that? Tell me if you feel that too. Do you feel happy to live in Canada? What makes you enjoy life in Canada? What's great about the quality of life in Canada? It's obviously a place that so many people from all over the world want to go to, and one of the reasons it is because it's like just such a great place to live. I guess having such amazing nature and landscapes adds into that happiness and things like that. You can just go to some beautiful locations very easily. But tell me in your own experience, what makes you happy about Canada?
The number of Canadian lakes is mind-blowing. The country has more than 3 million lakes.
I knew there was a lot of lakes, but 3 million lakes? There's only like 5 million people live in Scotland, man. There's almost as many lakes in Canada as there is people in Scotland. About half the amount of people in Scotland there's as many lakes. That is absolutely mind-blowing.
Which is more than the rest of the world combined. Besides, all these lakes contain 20% of all the fresh water on Earth. Okanagan Lake is supposedly the home of Okopogo, a mythical creature.
I guess is that similar to the Loch Ness Monster in Scotland? Looks similar. Is there like a tourist industry based on that? Do people go there just to try and see the monster and things like that? Has there been any sightings, any grainy photographs like similar to the Loch Ness Monster of this?
similar to the one that's said to dwell in Loch Ness, Scotland.
I can't believe I just said that. Sorry.
Forests cover more than 40% of Canada's land territory. But New Brunswick province is especially foresty. Trees cover 85% of its territory. Walking in the forest without a compass doesn't sound like fun anymore.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, man. You get lost in one of those forests, 85% of that area is forest, you're gone, man. But this is what it's all about. The nature of Canada is probably the most impressive of any country. Like, just so much, like, it must be a great place to go hiking and camping. There must be so many places you can just get away from the stresses of normal life and the normal world.
Canada has the world's longest coastline. If you decided to walk along the Canadian coast without stops, it would take you more than 4.5 years. No wonder, since you'll have to cover about 151,000 miles.
Wow.
In Quebec, they produce 77% of all the maple syrup in the world. And Canadians do love this sweet pancake topping.
Yeah.
On the other hand, who doesn't?
Yeah, I definitely
By the way,
do.
rumor has it that somewhere in Canada, there's a strategic maple syrup reserve.
Yeah, I seen that in another video as well. That's like
About 10% of Canadians are either vegetarians or vegans. That means 2.3 million vegetarians and 850,000 vegans. Most of these people are under 35.
That's actually a huge number, to be honest with you. Like, maybe that's one reason why Canadians are happier. Maybe they just have a healthier lifestyle and healthier diet. Again, comparing to UK, being from Scotland, the diet is quite terrible. We have like huge heart attack problems, heart disease problems. Everything's fried and not very healthy, and they're probably very little vegetarians and vegans compared to Canada. Maybe that really dials into why how happy you are, really.
The national animal of Canada is the beaver.
Yeah.
By the way, it's Canada's largest and the world's second largest rodent. The capital city of Canada, Ottawa, is at the top of the list of the world's coldest capitals. Canada is home to the biggest number of polar bears in the world. See for yourself. Out of approximately 25,000 left on the planet, 15,000 live in the Arctic regions of the country.
And that's what you got to think about. You're going from the border of the USA right up to the Arctic. It's actually, yeah, like the more I find out about Canada, the more I just really so interested in the geography of the country. I've seen the map a million times, of course, seeing it on globes and seen this, but I've never really focused and really analysed the country and just even thinking about this area. Like, again, like, it's just so vast, and like even things like, how do you travel between all these little different islands and things like that? It blows my mind, the sheer size of it.
Canada straddles not 1 or 2, but 6 time zones.
Whoa.
They are Newfoundland time zone, Atlantic time zone, Eastern time, Central time zone, Mountain time zone, and the Pacific time zone. Hey, time out. The lowest ever recorded temperature in Canada was minus 81.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Ooh!
I mean, this just shows that also Canada's a country of extremes, like that the extreme weather change earlier that we've seen, the extreme cold there as well.
Tap water in Canada is as good as bottled water. What's more, some people are sure that it even tastes better.
Same in Scotland.
While
we have
driving
great
in
tap
northwest
water.
Canada, be prepared to see license plates shaped like a polar bear.
Now that is pretty nice, I like that.
By the way, there are so many bears in Canada that in some areas, drivers leave their cars unlocked. Why, you ask?
So
It's
they
done to
can
make
run
sure
there.
that people have a chance to escape from the bears by hiding inside a car.
Wow.
The largest
To have to think about that and have that as a backup plan, that is a dangerous place.
mall in the U.S. is the Mall of America. But did you know that its owners are Canadian? Wait, what? If you're a fan of narwhals, go to Canada. There you can buy a coin with this unicorn whale. On the other hand, be ready to part with $300 since the coin is made of gold. Or, if you want to play big, you can buy a Canadian $1 million coin. No kidding. This largest coin on the market is made up of 220 pounds of 99% pure gold. But hurry up, there are only 5 such coins in the world, and only one is for sale. Ever heard the word loonie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in Canada, this is in fact a form of currency. Loonie and toonie as well. The loonie is a $1 gold-colored coin, and the toonie is, as you might guess, a $2 one.
Cool. Yes, things like that I'm very interested to know, little quirks and things that like a lot of people don't know. Those things are very interesting, a loonie and a toonie. These are things I can use to try and impress people about my knowledge of Canada, but the things I don't think many people from outside Canada would probably know.
Canadians love their famous interjection, eh? What's more, it's listed in the Canadian Oxford Dictionary as a real valid word.
And is that common as well? Do people really say that a lot? Is that another stereotype that is just overused? Like, I have quirks of language being from Scotland that I use, and we say like that as well, like, but we use it more at the start of a sentence. We'll say like I mean, that's more of a sound, or we'll say like like it's weird. But yeah, I guess kind of similar in a way.
The first British Columbians used fish instead of candles. Ulichin, also known as candlefish, is so fatty that when you dry it and string on a wick, it'll burn brightly.
How did they even find that out? How did that originate? Like, again, that is something that is like, how is that even possible? Like, to know that, man, that's just great.
In Canadian McDonald's, you can buy the McLobster, sold exclusively
Fancy.
in this region. Now, if
you've had that, how does it taste? How is McDonald's in general thought of in Canada? You know, like in different countries around the world, it has like different reputations. Sometimes it's like in the US, it has like quite a bad reputation. I think in Europe, it can be a bit better. How is it in Canada? Is it commonly eaten? Is there other fast food places that are more popular?
If your biggest fear is snakes, never ever visit the Narcissi snake dens in Manitoba. There are more snakes in that place than in any other part of the world. Thousands of red-sided garter snakes are concentrated in that relatively small area. In Saskatchewan, you don't wear a hoodie, you put on a bunny hug. True.
A bunny hug? Nice.
Every spring, the coast of Newfoundland and Labrador witnesses a stunning iceberg parade, when massive chunks of ice break off glaciers and make their way through Iceberg Valley. Entrepreneurs harvest these mini icebergs to use them in the production of alcoholic drinks and skincare products.
There was a lot to take in there, yeah, like just the actual the part about it, watching those icebergs go by must be very interesting, but like the fact that they're harnessed and used in products, that's very surprising as well. But yeah, one thing that brought up is like obviously like icebergs and things, when I see them getting talked about on social media and things, it's usually to do with climate change and how big parts are breaking off or how they're melting. How is climate change actually affecting Canada, a country where it must have some effect, especially when it covers such a vast landmass and vast distance, especially with a lot of it being in the Arctic and things, where people say the ice is melting up there. How is climate change affecting Canada, all over Canada? I'd be very interested to know.
Wood Buffalo National Park, created in 1922 to protect the largest herd of roaming wood bison in the world, is larger than Switzerland. One of the most popular dishes in Canada is poutine.
I've never tried that, but I would
fries
love to.
Covered with cheese curds and rich gravy. Hey, what's not to like?
I mean, I'm from Scotland, so one thing we actually have is similar. We can go to these like takeaway places after we've been out drinking. It'll be chips, like fries, covered in grated cheese, and then they'll put like gravy or curry sauce all over it. It sounds like, I don't know, some people think it's not the best. I absolutely love it. Living in Malaysia, I miss that sort of junk food quite a lot. Is it similar to poutine? It sounds a bit similar. I don't think I've ever had cheese curds, but I would love to try poutine. Maybe I'll try and make it in a video one time or something like that.
Canadians eat more macaroni and cheese than any other nation in the world. You didn't see that coming, did you?
Mac and cheese.
By the way, the Canadians have been crazy about this dish ever since 1845.
A long history with mac and
Canadians are
cheese.
some of the friendliest people in the world. You probably can't find a rude Canadian, even if you try really hard.
Is that true? Tell me, like, I see again, like, I see a lot of people talking about the politeness and the how Canadians are not rude, but is that true in your experience living in Canada? Do you find it's like there is a lot of rude people, or are people just generally nice?
Lots of Canadians speak French as their first language, and Montreal is the second largest French-speaking city in the world, after
Now, that is
Paris, of
pretty
course.
Mental.
Pretty cool, eh?
Yeah.
Say, have you heard any other curious facts about Canada?
Yeah, so that's it, man. I absolutely loved that video. That was so good to like really find out so much more about Canada. So many interesting facts, and some I'm going to be using to, like, as I said there, impress people that I know that don't know too much about Canada. Canada is like a hugely unique country, not just with these facts, but things like the geography, the makeup of it being like English speaking and French speaking. All these things really, really interest me, and like I love this video to find out more. Tell me what you think the most unique thing is about Canada and what the most interesting fact from all of these was. And keep recommending other videos for me to check out. I'm really loving this education about Canada, such an amazing country. And yeah, hopefully if you want to subscribe to my channel, go ahead. Thanks.